What an arrival and what a start to the weekend. It's Friday here at Nelson's Dockyard, and I completely understand you're emotional, Mike. I keep my sunglasses on for a reason as well. Incredible scenes here at the Dockyard. Ladies and gentlemen, this incredible guy, Mark Bates, started his journey in La Gomera, 3,000 miles away, 12th of December last year. He's now here as the first solo participant in this year's Telescopic Atlantic Challenge, the world's toughest row, and he did his crossing in 46 days, 6 hours and 10 minutes.
So why did you decide to row alone?
I felt personally it was the purest way to do it. So someone told me, not my words, but someone said to me in the build-up to, 3.5 years ago, that if you row it as a team, then you can only say you've overrowed halfway across.
Because you'll always be getting help.
Correct. And so for me, I thought, well, look, if I'm going to do this once, and I'm only going to do it once, I'm going to do it the purest way. And also, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to inspire as many people as possible to believe that they could do anything in life.
Okay.
And I think if you do something like this on your own, a lot of people really can't get their head around it. It's so crazy.
Agreed.
It pushes them to do a little bit more. I also wanted to raise a lot of money for charity.
All right. We're going to come to the charity, but I was just wondering, because I realized in your bio that you are the closest we're going to come to knowing what James Bond really is. So
people say that.
So did that experience at all enable you to think that you're accustomed to doing a lot of solo stuff? So that would happen.
So the way I view it is that every experience you have in life is like a brick that you place on a wall behind you. You're building this wall of evidence that you're able to do stuff. And so, having been a Royal Marines Commando, having worked in the MOD for 20 years, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Black Belt, these are all difficult challenges. They give you the confidence to be able to go out and achieve even bigger.
Building blocks.
Building blocks, man. And, that's what it's all about. You can start small, but you're going to build this wall up. And then you can look behind you and you've got the confidence to know that whatever the world throws at you, you can probably overcome it.
Cool. And you mentioned your charity, because I noted that your charity was, while for us it's national, for want of a better word, for you it's personal, because it's the place that saved your children, more or less.
Yeah. So my youngest son's life, so both my children were born early. My youngest son was born 9 weeks early and had meningitis. And Leeds General Hospital, the paediatric intensive care unit saved his life. And so I felt that I wanted to pay back that debt by raising money for that unit specifically. And so we've raised a total of about £170,000.
What was your target?
70,000.
Because I'm like, when I heard it, is he like over target?
Way
That's
over.
awesome. Have you gotten any feedback from them yet?
Yeah, they're very, very happy, obviously. I mean, they're more happy I'm back safe.
I suspect that is critical.
But they're very grateful, I think.
Was there any point on the sea that you're like, okay, if I want to get off now, if I could safely, you would have? Or was it feeling sufficiently dangerous that you were concerned?
Yeah, there was never a point that I felt I would ever give in and want to get off. But there was lots of points where I just wanted 1 minute's rest. 1 minute just to calm down. But the problem with the ocean is it's relentless. There's another wave.
So there was never a point where it was just nice and calm?
Never. And the week between Christmas and New Year we had huge weather. Huge weather. The benefit of that, of course, once we got through that, was anything else I saw was never as big as that. So I felt very confident in the boat. And that's when I started to push really hard for mileage.
And you never thought at any point, okay, this is it, I'm not going to make it. You were always knowing that this was just another experience and I'll be home soon.
I was very aware of my mortality. Certainly before I started, I thought, there is a chance you may not
Before you started?
Yeah, so a friend of mine before I started said, look, you're going to write a letter to the family in case you don't come back.
Ooh.
The last time I was asked to do that was on the way to Afghanistan in 2002.
Ooh.
And I didn't write one then and I didn't write one now.
Very good.
But I sent my family a video message the night before, just telling them what I felt about them, just so there was some in there. And that made me feel a bit better. But there was
my wife didn't call you and tell you, no, you're not doing this in light of this video. No, you're not doing this.
She said that a lot at the very start. But then, we got together as a family. We felt like this was a sacrifice we wanted to make, not seeing each other at Christmas, not being around at New Year's, for other people, for the charity. So it was worth it.
And now at the end, just in terms of the family, has it strengthened the bond with the... When you came off and you went straight for her, I was like, you could see she was so relieved. You were just, I'm glad to have you back in my arms.
I said to Sarah that I'd call her and the boys twice a week.
Okay.
That's before I set off. I called them twice a day, every day. I couldn't.
Twice a week.
I said I'd call them twice a week.
Right, twice
I
a
ended
week.
up calling them twice a day.
Okay.
Because the feeling I had for them when I was away from them was so strong. And
thank heavens for technology.
Honestly, unbelievable. And it really got me through. And so the love for my wife, I think, is definitely strengthened if that was possible. I think, in some respects she had the harder job, staying at home with 2 kids, 4 cats and a dog and a full-time job, and I was out there on my own.
Worrying about you.
I'm worried about me. So I'm very grateful to be surrounded by good, supportive people.
Okay. Tell us about Jamie. You and Jamie forged an interesting bond. Jamie's still underwater, coming in. Kind of lost his buddy. Do you still speak to him now that you're off the water?
He messaged me the day before I left to say congratulations. Well, the day before I arrived to say congratulations. But we support each other in Gomera quite a lot.
Right.
And we were moored next to each other. And obviously all the teams have each other to do stuff. And we helped each other out. And then I was racing him for the first week. I could see his red port light just off to my left-hand side. And so I was racing. I got 10 miles in front. And we were kind of 10 miles between us for about a week.
Okay.
And then I had my darkest first day, which was day 9. A pod of dolphins turned up that day. And I felt that they kind of took my ego away, and I felt, like, why am I racing this guy? He's been my friend. Like, I don't care if I win or he wins. So I called him up. I said, listen, if I had my way, we would cross the finish line together. So whatever happens, good luck. And then I ended up stretching out the lead of about 300 miles. But we called each other every Saturday. And he was the only person on earth who knew how I felt. And that was so important to me because I could tell him my feelings. And he'd
Things
say,
that you wouldn't tell the wife or the children.
Yeah, and he was like, mate, I felt like that last week. And he would tell me, and I'd be like, dude, I felt like that 2 weeks ago. And so it was so special to share that with him. And I just want to get him here safe now, man. I hope he arrives when I'm here. I want to see him.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Well, for you, I'm going to continue following him. I followed both of you, but you were interesting to me for so many reasons. One was that you kept learning or sharing what you were learning about the ocean and the depth and various things. Because, the person's crossing, you normally learn different things. But yours was so fascinating, especially as you got closer to Antigua. I have been in Antiguan waters for so long, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's new information.
Well, I have my social media guy, Barry Hayes, at Sharkbait Socials. Thank for that. He's wonderful at that.
Oh, he's the one that went
He's
to
the
that
one,
angle.
yeah.
He took a totally different approach.
He did, but what I wanted from the social side of things for me was a really honest account of my rows. You'll have seen me in tears a lot. I say that the ocean's an inch deeper now because of my tears. Because I cried every single day. But I wanted people to see the ups and downs, the highs and lows. This isn't an easy thing. And it stretches you right to the very limits. And I wanted everyone to see that. But I do believe that those really challenging times, they make the highs even higher. So coming into Antigua, seeing the island for the first time, how beautiful it looked, and then getting closer and closer, and then actually coming in the reception, that is a moment.
Yes, you had Maurice to thank for that on the boat.
He's so good. He's so good, man. And I'll never forget that moment.
Good. I was there.
I know, thank you.
I was there. I'm so pleased. What's next for you? Curious.
Well,
Having done, by the way, before I even go to what's next, I should ask, for all the things that you've done, and you've done quite a lot, where does this rank?
Someone asked me if it was harder than commando training. I think it probably is harder than getting my green beret. I think so. Just because it was relentless. It was a shorter experience, but it was so relentless. I was on my own. There was no structure, no support. So I think it's probably the hardest physical thing I've ever done, a mental thing as well. I see it as the kind of pinnacle, really, of the first mountain in my life. So everything before this has been a big climb. I've achieved my first mountain, and now
this is your 40th gift to yourself.
This is 42 years.
Yes, I realized you were talking about that decade. I'm like,
so now the second mountain is going to be continuing to help people, but I don't feel I need to do any big physical challenges anymore. I've got a really big project which is going to be coming up next year. Just signed a contract on that.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to talk about it. But
No
it's going to
problem.
be very,
No,
very
that's
cool.
fine. That's fine.
Super cool. And
I'll be watching.
You'll see a lot more of me. and a couple of businesses that I want to create to support men in midlife.
Okay.
To try and help men understand that they can have a just as good a second half of life as their first half. And that's ultimately what I've tried to demonstrate here.
That sounds very interesting. I need to follow up with you on that. Because I think that's something that could probably have a global appeal.
100%.
I know you're thinking of it for your community and
No,
home, but
I think
it has a global appeal.
I think men are the next conversation. I think a lot of men feel lost at the moment, and particularly men in that midlife crisis where they're getting a little bit older, and life for them has become a little bit stale. And what men aren't good at is talking and sharing how they feel, and that's what I wanted to do on the road. I wanted to show, look, it's okay to cry. It's okay to share this stuff.
He cried.
I cried a lot.
If you missed it, he cried.
Cried a lot.
I'll show you. I'll find a few clips. He cried.
And I want to tell men that it's okay to do that, and it's okay to be vulnerable because that's strong. And if I can do that and help improve some men's lives and mental health, then that's going to be my next mission for sure.
All right. And for 2 more questions. One, persons who might be thinking of doing this Atlantic campaign, what would be the 2 positive things you want to tell them and 1 thing to look out for? Absolutely, from your experience.
Okay, I'll do the one thing to look out for first. It's going to be way harder than you think it's going to be. So I prepared as well as anyone in the fleet, I think, physically. And I was already fit anyway, but I did a lot of training and 200 hours at sea training. And it was still way harder than I imagined it might be. But the positives, the impact on other people is something that you're not ready for. I think it touches a lot of people and it infuses a lot of people to live a life a bit better. So it's definitely worth doing for that. And also for yourself, I've not fully processed it yet, but I know it'll be one of the things that I can look back on in my life with my children, my wife, and everybody else that is so proud of. So I think everyone's got one ocean in them, and they should go out and do it for one.
Mine is going to be in my bathtub. The ocean for me, definitely bathtub. And of course, I could not end this without asking you. You said we have been Antigua, we've been composed since your arrival.
Right.
But just your impressions on the record, because we spoke off the record, of the little you've seen of our country.
It's a beautiful country for starters. There's a guy I've got to give a shout out called Travis, who's one of the National Parks Rangers, and he does some work for the Atlantic campaign.
Travis West?
You know Travis? Yeah?
Yes, he did a pairs role.
He did?
Yes, and he wants to go back and do solo, so I'm sure you're motivating him. No, Travis. Go ahead.
I'll use him as an example of what I believe to be the Antiguan kind of spirit. So he took away from his job, picked me and my family up, drove us over here in his bus to get us here safe when I arrived. But on the way, he took us up to Black House, took us up to Shirley Heights, showed us around Antigua, showed us the story. And I thought, I don't know this guy well, but he gave up his time. And if he embodies what Antigua is,
That is Antigua for you. That is Antigua and Barbuda.
beautiful people, beautiful country, man. Couldn't have ended in a better place.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so very much for having this chat.
Come with me as we ride along the way. Put some happiness up and let's go on this way.